I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
What's up, everybody? It's Oops the Podcast. I am Giulio, and I'm joined by Francis Ellis.
I'm here. I'm queer. Deal with it.
Love that. Love that.
How we doing?
I'm doing good, man. I update on my personal training situation.
Yes.
I know they talked about that a little bit, and I'm kind of doing sort of like a virtual, affordable personal trainer situation. And I have to like write down everything I eat, whatever. In 2 weeks, I have lost 1 pound, which
Wow.
is probably not ideal. I probably would have wanted to lose 3.
You're proud of that pound, though.
I'm proud that I didn't gain weight. I've stuck to the workouts. They've been hard as fuck, and they've gotten easier, so that's good. I feel a little bit more fit, and I know that they say, you know, don't get too caught up about the scale, but I also am very aware of how I look at all different weights, and I know what my weight is, my good weight.
What's your good weight?
My good weight is probably 185.
And what do you weigh right now?
It's much more than that. Let's leave it at that.
You weigh 210.
Let's ish.
More? Did I say more or less?
Around there.
Okay. I feel bad because I feel like I'm asking a woman about
No,
her
dude, it's
weight.
fine. I like don't want to talk about it.
I
It's
get
like
it.
embarrassing.
I apologize.
Dude, don't
But
apologize.
here's my question, right? It could be that in this first, is your goal to lose weight, to become more muscular?
So it's both, and I've so much. I've weighed 160 pounds as an adult before.
Huh.
I've run the gambit of all the possible. I've gotten too skinny and didn't realize it at the time. So I know I have such good perspective now, and I know that like if I can do these high intensity workouts, I can be a weight like 180, 185, and be like lean and like and in shape.
Mhm.
That's the goal. And I also know that's the weight that I look the best on camera, in my opinion.
Got it.
So hopefully taking strides. It's supposed to be a 90-day program. There are things I need to improve a little bit. I fell off the wagon slightly a couple times, but nothing extreme. I drank another night when I was only supposed to drink one night, only 2 drinks. But I will say this to everybody, like there really truly is time to kickstart getting in the shape that you want to be in, especially because I realized this the other night. Even though I have these engagements and these occasions that are hard to like not drink at, I don't have to do stand up every night, and I don't have to go out to bars. Like not having to do that is an incredible gift in the game of weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
There is such a difference in terms of its effect on your body between having 2 glasses of white wine when you're home for the night versus going to a bar and having 4 to 6 beers and 2 shots of Fireball.
Dude, totally. From so many perspectives, like the night where I go out and I have 7 drinks, then that next day I eat like shit. The day after that, I probably sort of eat like shit and I feel terrible. And like Monday, like you have done damage to your body.
Totally.
So, you know.
Whew, dude, I don't know. For me, it's sleep. My sleeping, as I've said, has gone to shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I got drunk on Saturday night for the first time in a long time.
How was it? I saw your hungover song.
It was super fun. Yeah, but waking up hungover, it was very disorienting because I hadn't been hungover in, I want to say like a year.
Did you feel it today? We're recording this on Monday.
I haven't really thought about it. No, because I was pretty good yesterday about really cleaning my body out.
Nice.
I didn't just give myself like a greasy food, shitty cheat day.
Right.
I was drinking a lot of water, drinking this green juice, stuff like that. But dude, the thing about being hungover now, when you're younger and you're so accustomed to being hungover, you know how to get through it. And you're just like, a couple sips of Gatorade.
Is that it?
Coffee, sweat it out.
Do you think that's it?
I think you're so familiar with being hungover that it doesn't freak you out.
Is there any chance, like what? I know it's like a balancing of these two things. What you just said, but also you are physically better at handling it.
Of course. Your body,
right?
Your body is resilient. You know,
slightly more.
There's something about the young brain. I don't know.
The bounce back time is quicker.
Absolutely.
Sleeping in is enough.
Yeah.
Whereas in your 30s, you need a nap. And then as Sean Donnelly has said, which I find hilarious, he's like, once you're in your 40s, you take it with you forever.
You take a hangover with you forever. That's great.
Funny, right?
That's really
I thought
funny.
that was a great line.
Hangover, dude, I was hungover on Sunday and it scared me.
It sucks.
Meaning, because when, think about times when you get sick, and I'm talking like throwing up,
Right.
and you're not sure what's going on, and you get the flu, and you're like, I'm fucking dying right now. Right? That's how foreign the hangover felt. And I remember waking up in my bed and being like, what happened? What is going on? Why do I feel this way? I haven't woken up feeling this bad in so long. And so I was like, okay, I'm hungover. Oh, that's right. And then I had to dust off the instruction manual in my brain for how to cope with a hangover. Yeah, I was like, all right,
Page 3.
Refer to this is the safety briefing. It's like, fuck, I haven't gone through this in a long time. And it was like, all right, get out of bed, take a shower, brush your teeth, go upstairs, make extra coffee, right? Drink some water, make sure you have breakfast. And then it was like Advil. Yeah. And then, get outside, allow yourself to just watch TV for a while. Totally.
Chapter 7, you will be hornier than you expect.
Jerk off.
That is normal.
Get that poison out of your body. That is
toxic nut, brother.
That is poisonous sperm. As I've said before, it will burn a hole through your shirt if you come on yourself. So be careful. Be very careful. Also, the porn you're going to want to watch for that jerk off.
It's going to be weird.
Not good porn. Not safe. Not safe. You want that to just be a one-off, okay?
Yeah, delete that browser history afterward, please. Do yourself a favor. Dude, that's great. So, dude, I remember I had a hangover like that was like really unusual. I was in Africa, and I was working on a project there. Hopefully one day you guys will all know about it. We'll see. But we had one touristy thing planned. I was running on fumes. I was so excited to be in Africa. And the night before, I had brought a girl home in Africa, which I felt was like an interesting thing.
Sure.
Anyway, I got yelled at by my Airbnb host being like, you shouldn't be bringing girls home for your own safety. I was like, all right, pal, that's a little fucked up.
Wow.
Getting a little too involved. The next day, we were going on a hike. I felt great in the car. I was so psyched. I'm in Africa. Then the hike began. And dude, it was this crazy hike. It was a 14,000 foot. The top, or it might have been 12,000. I think it was 12,500.
I'm going to pause you for a quick second.
Yeah.
How long was the car ride to the hike?
2 hours.
See, that is actually scarier to me than the hike.
Why?
Getting in a car and sitting in the back seat and having to ride. I'm not sure you were in the back seat.
I think I was.
Being driven.
Hungover,
at
right?
Someone else's like own pace. You don't know how poorly they're going to drive. In hungover is my worst nightmare.
So, has this ever happened to you? The hangover hits you later in the day?
Yeah, sure. You're drunk for a while.
Okay,
and then
so we had to wake up early. I had a late night. I slept maybe an hour or two. Didn't matter. I was running on fumes, feeling good. And the guy was like, this is kind of a hard hike. But I'm just referencing the hiking app, where like in the hiking app, the hikes that are hard are still doable hungover. Like it's like the hardest hike in Malibu will be like hard, and it's still doable. I'm like, I've hiked. I've hiked. So I get there. They made us like rent boots, which I was like, why do we have to do this? We get to the point right even before we actually start the incline, and I was like, oh fuck. I feel like shit.
Oh no.
Dude, I'm not kidding you. For the next 5 hours, if I had to look down at my feet exclusively, if I were to have looked up, I would have started puking. There were gorillas we could see on this hike, supposedly. If we had seen a gorilla, dude, I wouldn't have given a fuck.
Oh, I know that feeling.
It's a terrible feeling. And it wasn't like a clear path, dude. Like there was a guy in the front with a machete, like clearing the way, and there was a soldier with us.
God.
Just in case like some critter, or we're also on like the border of this like contested territory with the Congo.
Sounds less like a hike and more like a search.
Exactly. So we were like, there was a soldier just in case things got weird. And bro, I'm not kidding you. I fell 60 times. I slipped and fell in the mud 60 times. It was the most miserable thing I've ever done in my life. And it just, you talking about being hungover reminded me.
Dude, you make the point of if you'd seen a gorilla, you wouldn't have cared. And that's so spot on. There's something so sad about doing a cultural event when you're hungover and you're traveling. I climbed to the top of the Duomo.
Oh, wow.
Super hungover. And I was wearing Birkenstock sandals. And let me the reason I was wearing Birkenstock sandals to climb those 5,000 stairs was because the night before at 3 a.m. in the nightclub, I decided to try for the first time a standing backflip. I thought that was the moment to see if I had it. I didn't have it. Didn't have it even close. Thank God I got over my head at least. But then what happened was various parts of my body hit the cement dance floor in succession. So first, like my face hit, but I was over my face. So I hit my lip, and then like my elbow hit, and then my like hand and wrist hit, and then my knees hit.
Oh my God.
And then my ankles, and then finally my toes hit. Dude, my toes were the worst part. My toes, it was as if I had kicked the ground in a pinwheel as hard as I could. And I certainly broke my big toe. It was so swollen that the next day I couldn't put closed-toed shoes on.
That's why you wore the stocks.
Which is why I wore Birkenstocks.
Holy shit.
And still climbed the steps of the Duomo.
Dude, that's crazy.
And when you're that hungover and you're in that much pain, you're just surviving.
I know.
So cultural attractions, you're not going to enjoy the sights.
Nope.
You're just like
worried about survival.
I'm here to get through whatever you're bringing to me.
Dude, 100%. That's also the image of you hitting in succession one bone at a time. That reminds me of when they're like, they have you in a crunch in a Pilates class and they want you to decline one piece of your spine at a time.
One vertebrae at a time.
One vertebrae at a time. It's the same, but the opposite. Started at your throat.
Yes.
Boom, boom,
Dude,
boom, boom.
Every part of my body, there were so many different parts that hurt so acutely, where they'd all just smacked in a heap of bones hitting the ground at different times.
Dude, there have been times when I was in college, I used to teach tennis in the Hamptons. There were nights where I did not sleep. I was out partying and I tried to sleep and I did not sleep at all. And I would get on the court at 8 a.m. for my first lesson, still wasted.
Yeah.
And I remember wanting to just break down and start sobbing.
Yeah.
Being like, I'm going to be out here all day. I do not know what I'm going to do.
But there's something where you say, this is my fault. I brought this upon myself. I have to get through it.
Totally. And it's dangerous when you get through it because then you feel invincible.
Yeah.
And you don't forget that you had no business completing that day.
I can suck it up for one day. That's your mindset.
It's like fucking... I was like, I walked out there as if someone had just bashed me in the head with a hammer or something.
Dude, I know that feeling.
It's terrible.
Being so loopy. You're like, are we exercising right now? We're really exercising? Because I can't walk. Dude,
even as an adult, man, it happened when I used to still teach tennis, and it would always be those tough classes the first thing in the morning. It would be like the 8-year-old boys who are the worst. Like you get on the court all hungover and immediately they all just like point their rackets at you like they're machine guns, being like, you're like, great, this is terrible. There's no chance that they don't show because there's 7 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So at least a couple of them are going to, and dude, on the way over, I've talked about this before, but I would fantasize about them all dying on the ride over. I was like, maybe they're all on the same bus and it's going to drive off the 59th Street Bridge and somehow they won't make it. It's fucked up.
I love it.
Chris is like, dude,
the world has enough kids. Enough young people running around. Dude, those hangovers, man.
They're rough.
Yeah, but, it's amazing how later in life, because for some of my friends, they still have that thing of while they're drinking, they're not aware of what is coming the next morning.
Yes.
They're like, oh, big night out. And there's no off switch.
Yeah.
It's just like the night ends when it ends.
I know.
And they're not going to be out till 5 a.m. anymore. Nobody really has the energy for that. But there's no limit to what they'll drink.
Right.
Whereas I have an awareness of I'm at drink 8 now.
Okay.
That's the end of my
good.
line.
Yeah. I don't have that, but I'm also pretty good at not getting into that situation.
Yeah.
As I get older. But dude, what about this? Has this ever happened to you? And you're a guy who you're very social. Francis is great. Has groups of friends. I'm so impressed with the way you balance your social and professional life.
Oh, that's sweet.
I feel like most comedians have to have those two things be the same.
Yes.
And Francis is good at having non-comedy friends.
So
you have a lot of big
Comedians
weekends.
are a nightmare.
With groups, 3 evening weekends. In those situations, I always bust my load night one.
Yeah.
I get too fucked up and I never fully recover.
Mm-hmm.
Night 2, I can't even get drunk. And night 3, I somehow manage to.
Mm-hmm.
But night 1, I'm crazy. I'm woo!
Yep.
Shots, fucking, you want some of this? Whatever powder
You're
you
all
got?
so
Share,
excited.
dude.
You're all so
Powder?
excited to be in the house together, to see each other. You always
So fun.
kick it off, even though objectively the Saturday night scene is going to be better if you
100%.
could just, chill out for a minute.
Definitely.
Yeah, dude. Boy, I don't know. I don't miss being hungover. I much prefer not to be. But it was fun to tie one on.
Dude, I bet it was great.
Everyone was vibing. We had 14 people in the backyard. We were
Great.
playing beer pong, water cups, so that we
Hell
weren't
yeah.
drinking anything and sharing.
Oh, really? That's fun.
I was passing out individual joints to people.
Fantastic.
I had all these pre-roll little half-gram joints that I bought in Maine, $5 a piece.
Great.
So everyone had their own joint. Everyone had, people. It was it felt safe, and we had music going, and people were partying.
Great.
Do you know how fun it was to play beer pong after 6 months of fucking solitude?
Dude, that sounds like the most fun thing
We'll
I've ever
do
heard
it
of.
again. We're
Let's do
gonna
it.
do it again. We're gonna do it next weekend.
Dude, awesome.
Let's do
Let's
it next
fucking do it.
weekend.
Let's do it. Count me in.
I love
Fuck
it.
yeah. Well, dude, listen, I one thing I will say, if I am hungover, thank God that I have my fucking trusty pair of bird dogs nearby.
Yes.
What a wonderful way to
That's
recover
a
from a
great
hangover.
point, Giulio. There is no pair of pants that is better worn during a hangover than the bird dog's
Yeah.
pants.
Like it feels like you have silk sheets on the inside of your pants.
You get out of that shower, that life-saving start to the morning, and you open up in your bureau drawer, and you're like, well, what the fuck could I possibly wear today in this state that I'm in? And you see those bird dogs, and it's a relief.
It's like, oh.
It's a relief. They shine. They
Yeah.
shimmer.
It's
Yeah.
really nice, dude.
They
And
really are.
seriously, like it's a perfect thing. You put those on, you drink your Bloody Mary, you drink it slow, you munch on that tomatoey covered celery.
You crunch that celery.
You crunch that celery and you wear your fucking bird dogs, and it's gonna feel goddamn good.
Yeah. Use promo code OOPS right now. You'll get a pair of nunchucks for free. Your first pair with your first order. Go to birddogs.com. Oops. Promo code. Get your nunchucks.
Yeah. Honestly, it's something special about getting your first pair of nunchucks.
Really is.
Everybody should be able to experience
That'll help
it.
fight those hangovers. By the way, I'm not a huge fan of Bloody Marys. Are you a Bloody Mary guy?
No, but like on an occasion, I'll drink one. I drank one a week ago. A friend of mine was like, "Should we do Bloody Marys?" Ricky. I was like,
Yeah.
"Fuck yeah, let's have one."
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't mean I like them.
I don't like tomato soup either.
I don't love it.
I don't understand. What a weird thing to want your alcohol to be delivered to your body in.
Right, like tomato concentrate.
Yeah.
There's no fresh squeezed tomato juice.
You want a hearty meal with your alcohol?
Yeah. Dude, yeah.
And
Seriously.
and then you put horseradish and weird spices and onions and stuff. You see all kinds of weird breadsticks.
It's still good. Like there's something about I don't love them, but like there is a day where I'm be in the mood for one.
Yeah.
When they're nice and salty.
People tell me that they like to drink them when they're flying because they like the tomato juice. And I'm like, well, just order a fucking tomato juice.
Dude, yeah. I don't
Do you drink when you fly?
Nope.
Yeah.
I fucking absolutely don't.
Absolutely.
And I have
not.
friends who, no matter what time of day it is, they go and they start drinking, and I'm like, they're like, you pass out, but then you wake up and you're just like, you feel
Totally.
like your body's been exhumed.
I do this thing where I'm sleeping and all of a sudden I jolt awake and I kick my legs out and my shins slap against the bar under the seat in front of me. And then that's a nightmare because I have bruised shins.
Dude, that's one of the main reasons why people die in plane crashes. Like if it's like not, if you're in a 747 and that
Broken
goes down, like
shins?
you're going to, yes. So like what'll happen is the plane will crash. And I was reading about how to survive plane crashes. I think I mentioned this, but if you put something underneath that little opening in the seat in front of you, there's a far less likelihood of your feet just going under and like the front of your legs breaking, which then prevent you from escaping the aircraft if you happen to survive. You slide
Oh my
underneath the seat in front of
God,
you and
dude.
your legs break.
So what's the solution?
So the solution is you put like a backpack in front of you, or you put something underneath there to stop that from happening. And because they were surveying all the people who have survived plane crashes
Mhm.
and seeing the things that those people had in common.
Interesting.
And that was one of the things. they had a padding in front of them, either intentionally or unintentionally.
Spooky stuff.
So, dude, I'm just saying, like, that is the beginning of a very potentially dangerous and treacherous road you're going down.
I'm glad. I didn't realize. So yeah, people not being able to exit the airplane.
Dude, I slept with a girl who's a plane crash survivor. Yeah. And I didn't even know that until later. I was like, oh my God, I wonder what that girl's up to. And in her Facebook profile, it was like plane crash survivor. And then I looked into it. It's on Wikipedia. And this happened after
That's something you put in your Facebook profile?
Isn't that
I
crazy?
understand cancer survivor being a big part of someone's identity and putting that in their bio, but plane crash survivor? Are there support groups for them? I guess there must be.
I don't know. But I know that she speaks about it. But it's also funny because you know how people will be like, I want to bang every kind of girl. Be like, well, have you banged a plane crash survivor?
That's a rare Pokemon card.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not finding that in every pack.
That's the Mewtwo of banging.
Jesus.
Plane crash survivor.
What kind of plane was it?
It was a flight in South America. It was not a commercial jet.
So this is my point.
But there were still like 50 or 60 people on the flight. It wasn't like a 6-person aircraft. It was a real flight. But like a handful of people on the flight survived. So she wasn't like the lone survivor, but people did survive.
People died on the flight?
Yeah, like half of the flight.
That is a serious
That's a
plane
serious
crash.
It's on Wikipedia.
Wow.
What's up, Chris?
Also, another thing I listened to this podcast about it is a lot of people who survive the crash and the impact, they inflate their raft before they like get out of the plane, and most of the time the thing's in the water and then they can never get out.
They block it. Wow.
Because they've inflated their raft before they get out of the plane.
That's crazy.
And they can't go down.
They've inflated their life jacket?
The life jacket.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Crazy, dude. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's one thing to be in a plane crash if you're in like a little puddle jumper, 8-seater that barely gets off the ground and then sort of crashes into the ground. It's another thing if a commercial airliner.
Right.
That's the real deal.
I know.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. They also say that people who actually pay attention to the security thing at the beginning have a much higher chance of survival because people fly so often they think they know it. But like there are little differences that can really make a big difference as far as like reaction time and knowing where things are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's a question for you.
Sure.
What is 1 billion minus 1? $999,999,999. What is it? Try it again.
1 billion minus 1?
Correct. If you had $1 billion.
$999,999,999.
There you go.
Right. Okay. That's what I meant to say.
But nobody gets that.
Really?
It's a hard thing to do.
I guess you're right. Yeah.
Could you do 1 trillion minus 1?
Yeah, 999,999,999,999.
There you go. By the way, I quiz my girlfriend on this at night when we're high. Yeah.
Dude, that is such a high thing.
She hates it.
What's 1 billion minus 1?
She hates it. She hates this.
Really?
You know what she's been doing? This is her answer a lot of the time. She'll like get through the nines and then add cents out of nowhere. And I'm like, this isn't a money question. We're talking numbers here.
$999.
Yeah.
She's like, fuck you.
She says, and she always says cents, like, and 99 cents. And I'm like, I didn't say take a penny away. Why you keep putting that penny in there?
That is funny.
Yeah.
Some of those questions, I mean, dude, you'd be amazed. Like, not, you wouldn't be amazed because you've definitely seen these too. But like, it's amazing to me sometimes the way people lack knowledge about things that you just assume would be obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even as far as like, where is this state? People don't know. Like, even if it's like an easy one.
The state of Missouri, which I am supposed to go to, I've never been to. I'm going to Kansas City. Quick plug, October 8th to the 10th, Kansas City Comedy Club of Kansas City. Get tickets at francissells.com. We hope to see you there.
Awesome.
I've never been to Missouri before, and I could not tell you where it is.
I would argue that Missouri is like a confusing one.
If you told me it was next to Montana, I'd believe you. If you told me it was next to Florida, I would believe you. And I know that Montana and Florida are very far apart.
I thought you were going to say are very close to each other.
Yeah.
Missouri is one of those states that confuses me too, because like I want it in my mind. I like assume I like group it with the South, but it's like sort of not the South. but it sort of is.
Well, the fact that it
but it
starts
isn't.
with Miss, because everyone thinks Mississippi is probably the quintessential southern state.
Right.
That maybe Texas as well. But when I think of Mississippi, I think, well, South.
Same.
You know?
Same.
And Missouri, MISS, that start makes me think they're like sister states.
Makes it totally. Before I had a very good knowledge of the geography of the country, Idaho was a huge curveball for me. I didn't realize that was west and north. I thought that was I thought it was Iowa. I you know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever.
Iowa, Idaho.
Dude, I have a good story for you.
Talk to me.
So I was thinking about this the other day. This is kind of a subtle story, but it's pretty fucking funny to me. So I had this, and the theme of this story is beware gassing up another man to your girlfriend. Beware of that. Beware.
Does that mean like complimenting your
like
girlfriend?
putting another man on a pedestal.
I see what you're saying.
Is a potentially dangerous game in unusual circumstances.
Don't tell your girlfriend a guy is great.
Yes. No matter what.
I'm excited to see where this goes.
Okay, so there's different ways that this can work. This can happen with celebrities, and I've talked about this in an early episode, but it can also happen with normal people. And I have an example of that happening, and it's really funny and insane.
Share.
Okay, so I had this friend in high school who was a hilarious guy. He would do all this crazy shit. Like one time we like dared him to run up to the Taco Bell drive-through naked. He was just like, he would always do stupid shit like that.
That guy.
Quite frankly, these stories aren't even as interesting now as they were then. Like I'm kind of like,
There's a lot of stuff when we were kids that was a lot funnier.
So shit like that. So I went to college and I started telling a guy on my floor about this guy. And he'd be like, him and his girlfriend would be in the same room. And he'd be like, dude, tell us another story about this guy. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to throw him under the bus. He'd be like, tell us more stories about him. So I would keep telling stories about this guy to this couple. And they thought it was so funny and that he was such a funny, wild guy. Anyway, that guy's girlfriend ends up transferring to USC, which is where the guy went to college. They met. It was like meeting a celebrity for her.
Oh my God.
And she ends up breaking up with my friend at school and dating the guy who I had been telling them stories about.
Wow, that's a small world.
Can you imagine?
Connection. Well, did you feel guilty because of it?
Listen, man, hear these stories at your own risk.
That's right.
I don't think
that's not on you whatsoever, And also, you could argue that you paved the way for her to have an improved relationship.
Perhaps.
Because if she was so easily sold on this guy who, because he runs up to Taco Bell counters naked, it makes me think her current boyfriend was very boring.
It's possible,
it's a subpar guy.
But that would not have happened if this legend behind this guy wasn't created. Because he's a nice guy, but, no offense to him. He's not like fucking Idris Elba.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool, though, because did you ever tell the guy at USC that you'd gassed him up?
He knew. She told him. She was like, I've been hearing all about you for years. How shitty is that? So, moral of the story.
I don't think it's shitty. I think you helped him. You helped your friend.
I know.
Were you better friends with the guy down the hall or the guy at USC?
Probably equal at the time. Pretty crazy. But the guy at USC, this is the same guy who got busted by the homeless guy undercover, a cop undercover as a homeless guy. This guy was just always having crazy. That was one of the stories I told.
Yeah.
In fact, crazy, dude.
That's funny, dude.
Crazy shit.
That's funny.
All right. So I don't know if you got something, but I got an email. If you
hit us with the email, and then I want to tell you about my night at Carbone.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
You know what? You want to tell us about that first?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, last week, my girlfriend's birthday. Her birthday was on Sunday, but she went to like a girls' weekend in upstate New York with her 3 closest friends for a big swanky weekend.
Fun.
So I wanted to get ahead of that, and I wanted to take her out preemptively because I knew that coming home from that, she was probably going to be low energy, tired. Did we really want to do our big New York evening of dinner on Sunday night?
How thoughtful.
Yeah. So I got a reservation at Carbone on Thursday night. Now, Carbone is a famous restaurant. It's rapped about by Drake.
Yes.
It is a restaurant that I've heard about for years. Back when I used to date this like big food influencer girl, she would talk about it. Yeah, and it's impossible to get a reservation there. They currently have good outdoor dining situations set up. reservations go online available at 10 a.m. 2 days prior to your reservation. I went on the website at 10:01, and the only time remaining was 4:30 p.m. on Thursday.
Crazy. It's
And I said to my
brunch,
girlfriend,
dude.
I was like, listen, can you even get out of work early enough for us to have dinner at 4:30 p.m.? She's like, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, whatever. So she was all for it. But I was desperately hoping I could somehow find a better time. And I actually emailed them asking if I could get a better time. And because of that, they gave me 7 p.m.
Dude, the emails. Can you tell us the emails?
So I did this long Instagram story. You might have seen it. I talked about how I'd gotten this 4:30 p.m. reservation, how it was really early. And I was like, I'm going to try to email them to convince them. And I emailed them. And in my Instagram story, I said that I had explained it was her birthday. In fact, it was her first birthday that she was celebrating since breaking away from the traditional Amish community in which she was raised under an oppressive household that prohibited things like electricity and indoor plumbing. So, and by the way, I did a lot of research about Amish people for this. And I was like, it's her big night out. I really want to show her the ropes of the New York scene. And I think there was like a show based on women that had escaped Amish communities or converted to a more modern lifestyle and that like life in the big city. There was.
It was a documentary, right?
Was
Or was
it?
there a movie too?
Maybe a
Or
show
too?
documentary. Yeah. So I was kind of basing it off that idea. And I was like, listen, I'm bringing her to your restaurant. She's left the life of simplicity and humble clothing behind. She's no longer churning her own butter. We're so excited to experience the food that you have to offer as well as, use your indoor plumbing. And sure enough, I got an email response being like, you're all set for 7 p.m. Enjoy. And everyone thought it was funny on the Instagram
so
story.
funny,
And it was
dude.
great. And so we
good
went
stuff.
and we're so stoked. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, I didn't tell her what restaurant we were going to.
Oh.
Neither of us had ever been here. And we're so excited. But I made a mistake of calling an Uber and setting the destination as Carbone. So we got into the Uber and he was like, you're going to Carbone? And I was like, fuck that.
Fuck.
So he blew the surprise. And, but it was okay. Cause we're by that point, we're 15 minutes
It's still
away.
a surprise.
Yeah. And we walk up, we're all dolled up, we're dressed up, we're excited. And we get seated. And dude, let me tell you something. This place does it right. All right. First of all, the waiter was spectacular.
Really?
This guy was automatic. It's hard to describe how good of a waiter he was, but the level of his voice, like the sort of, it didn't change. The inflection didn't change at all. And he would sort of lay out for us like what he thought we should order. I was like, can you guide us a little bit? And he was like, look, you gotta go with the spicy rotelli or whatever, spicy rigatoni. Everybody comes for that. That's what we're here for. Let's not kid around. And he had these kind of like offhand buttons to everything he would say that just made it feel, I don't know. It was so uniquely him and the restaurant.
Right.
And he's like, and then we're going to move on to this.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, that's going to be nice. And knowing you as well as I know you guys, he didn't go that far, but it was like, he just had these buttons, man. And you could tell he'd been doing it. He was so smooth. He takes the menu, the paper menu, once we've finished with it and rips it up in front of us because that means they're not handing out menus to multiple people. And it was just a subtle reminder of like, we're keeping
measures.
it safe here.
That's good.
But it also served as this like the ordering is done.
Mm-hmm.
Your menu consideration is complete for the evening. Ripped it up right in front of us.
That's great.
So little things like that. We had the best
burrata.
It was a caprese salad, and normally I wouldn't do that kind of thing because my mom, it's so basic to make a caprese. He was like, it's the end of the tomato season. You trust me. The mozzarella is hand pulled and it's warm. Oh,
it was good.
Fuck me twice, dude.
That's good.
It was bananas. Everything we had the branzino. It was a really nice meal.
That's great.
With that said, 2 tables away, there was a food blogger.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what a food blogger is?
I think so.
It's somebody who runs a food account on
Right.
Instagram.
Take pictures
Why do they call them food bloggers?
because they blog about food.
Are they writing about the food?
Maybe the caption will suffice.
Does writing a caption on Instagram count as a blog now?
I guess. I don't know.
To
I think
me-
that colloquially we do loop those two things in together.
All right. To me, a blogger is somebody who writes like a WordPress blog
Right.
and has thoughts, almost whatever, what I did.
Right.
Where I was writing paragraphs.
Right.
And yet somehow we now use that term to describe people who just post pictures of their food on Instagram.
Right.
Now, I'm not mad about it. I'm just asking, does that term really apply there?
So I wonder. I imagine that some of the accounts have more quality commentary than others.
Okay.
But fair enough.
Fine,
You're making a fair
fine.
point.
I because then you say like a travel blogger is just somebody that goes to crazy resorts and takes pictures of the pool, and then they're a travel blogger. But I think of a travel blogger, I think of like Condé Nast,
Right.
You know, like
Totally.
Discovery or
Publications.
National Geographic, like stuff like that, where
Right.
people are writing long spreads and having an editor go through it.
Right.
So I'm sure I'm wrong. Maybe that term has evolved to include these very cursory efforts at, dialoguing or logging what you've eaten or what you've experienced.
Right.
The point is, these two women were sitting at this table, two blonde women, and they run a food blog called Blondes Who Eat. Blondes Who Eat.
It's catchy.
105,000 followers.
Wow.
Thank God I have more followers than them. And not by a ton, but just enough where, so I'm sitting there, right? And they pull out their phone, and attached to the phone is this sort of like spinal telescoping arm, atop of which is a big ring light.
Wow.
And it's the brightest ring light I've ever seen.
That's obnoxious.
It was, as I said in my Instagram story, the sort of light that you might use to pull bodies out of the water as you sifted through the remains of the Titanic.
Had the sun gone down at this point?
Yes.
Ooh,
Oh, it was dark out.
that's a little more annoying.
And we're already sitting in the fucking bus lane. We already have motorcycles idling at the traffic
You
stop.
could be run over at any point.
You've already got, fucking souped up Subarus that are street racing right next door. Yeah. Yeah. So do we really need to add a spotlight to the
Yeah,
mix?
it's
And they're
frustrating.
swinging it around, and it keeps washing our table in this garish, incandescent surgical glow. As if, you're being interrogated or you're shopping for sunscreen at CVS. You can almost hear the light buzzing.
That sucks, man.
It sounded like the last thing that a mosquito would see before it dies. And they're reviewing every plate of food that comes out. They're not reviewing. I don't know. They're taking fucking pictures. They're talking about it, like holding the plates up. It made me irrationally angry.
That's frustrating, dude.
It made me irrationally angry. And I asked our fantastic wizardly waiter. I said, because this guy's been working. I said, how long have you been working here? He goes, I came here in 2012. Long time. 8 years at Carbone, one of the top restaurants in New York. I said, does it bother you when these social media influencers come to your esteemed establishment and they do these like kind of interrupting, vibe breaking pictures shoots? And he gave a very pragmatic answer, very political. He was kind of like, look, there are a lot more things you can worry about in life, and didn't break character. He was right down the middle.
Condescending.
Yeah, he was right. And it did make me feel a little bit like an asshole for even bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it set me straight. I thought, okay, that's true. And also, these girls are probably like making money. They might even be getting their meals comped.
Right.
They're fucking making it.
Right. It's true.
Why is that any different than someone who does this thing with their Instagram? Like they've
Because
figured
it's
out-
annoying. Because it is annoying. I'll give you that. It's
It
annoying.
is. It is.
It's annoying.
It is annoying.
But good for them, but it's also annoying. That's fine.
It's annoying.
Don't feel bad.
But I will say this to their credit. I posted an Instagram story of that's exactly it. There's the plate of them holding up their spicy rigatoni. I posted an Instagram story along the vein of the whole like influencers in the wild thing.
Oh yeah,
run by our good friend Tank Sinatra.
The Tank.
And I posted this Instagram story with like a long caption of myself saying like here these two women are with their crazy light, eating. But I wasn't as mean as I could have been. In fact, I wouldn't even say I was mean. And then after I posted that, a friend of mine, a girl who dates one of my good friends, she's like a model, and in that world, she was like, "Oh my God, this is so funny. This is my friend so and so." Like, but not like, "Yo,
right.
that's mean. Take it down."
Right.
Just like that's so funny.
What
You
a
should check out.
coincidence.
She was like, "Check out their account. They're actually pretty funny." And I looked at their account, and they are funny. They're like they order like crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Really unhealthy, enormous burgers, and they video themselves eating it.
That's good.
And I liked that.
Yeah.
Because so many of these food bloggers, they don't eat they eat like a quarter of it, or they don't even eat it at all, and it's all fake. These girls are like housing it. They've got sauce dripping down their chin. I was into it.
Yeah.
I was like, good for you. You're not taking yourself too seriously. They seem to be having a good time. And as a result, I put up a next story where I was like, I checked out their account. This is what it is. They're funny. I wish them the best. And I'm going to do the same thing here on this podcast. This is the first and last time I will ever fucking endorse a food blogger. But I would say go ahead and follow Blondes Who Eat if you're into that sort of thing. I wish them well. I can't believe it's me saying this, but that's
good.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
glad
the
you
whole
came
thing.
to terms with it.
Yeah,
bro. I'm happy you had such a good experience with your waiter. I find though at like kind of nicer Italian restaurants like that, or Italian restaurants in general, a lot of the times the waiters will be oozing toxic masculinity, and it annoys the shit out of me. Like, oh, you ready for a special? Yeah, okay. Okay, today we have the branzino, baked, a stuff, a rosemary, very nice. And then they did it, and you're just like, all right, dude, fine. And then like you order, and they start criticizing your order. I'm like, yo, I know what I fucking want. Like, stop like undercutting me in front of my girlfriend, dude. Like I remember I went to an Italian restaurant for Valentine's Day like a couple years ago, and the guy's like, it's not enough wine. I suggest this. He suggested like a really expensive one. I was like, really? Like that's such a stereotypical move. We don't give a fuck about wine, dude. Bring us the shitty wine.
Great point. And let me show you how my waiter did that. Okay, here's how good he was. I was like, we want a bottle of wine. It's her birthday. And he goes, okay, what are you thinking? And I said, a red. We like a nice big red typically. And probably in the $100 range was what I said, which is an expensive bottle.
Yeah.
Now at Carbone, there were only like 3 bottles on the menu in that range.
Right.
He gives me 2 options. One is the $90 bottle and one is the $120 bottle.
That's great.
And he sings the praises for both of them.
That's great.
And he was like basically giving me a very comfortable out.
In order to not look like a cheap loser.
He's like, yeah, these are your 2 good options. They're both great. And he certainly sold the 120 bottle a little bit more.
Right.
But not in a way that was going to make me feel disappointed for opting for the cheaper one.
Right.
And he was classy about it, dude. This guy, man, it is a fucking art form. A good waiter.
Yeah,
at a nice restaurant is a wizard.
My grandfather was a career waiter.
Wow.
He was a waiter at the Plaza. He was a waiter at this place, the Pen and Pencil. It's no longer open. The Palm.
Yeah, I love the Palm.
I know,
yeah.
and it's just so interesting. He's not around anymore, but it's incredible. He came here for like 30 years, did that, and then moved back to Italy and built himself a fucking palace, like a sick house on the top of like a mountain with like French doors on the second floor. It's crazy. And I don't know if it was different because back then you didn't have to pay taxes or whatever, but like he made money as a career waiter. It's pretty fucking cool.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah. Dude, 2 funny waiter things that they do, and at Italian restaurants specifically, I noticed this. One is when they take the breadcrumb scooper, and it's like this V-shaped piece of metal, and they go along the table, and they wipe up all the crumbs.
Oh, I love that.
And they wipe it off.
Makes me satisfied.
I fucking hate that.
Oh, it satisfies me.
It drives me crazy. I'm like, dude, get the fuck out.
Really?
I don't know what it is. I don't know. Something about it. It's just so like. And the other thing I hate is the pour that continues to get higher and higher. They do this, and then they raise it as they're pouring it, and then they twist it. I'm like, enough of the fucking theatrics, dude. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But I do like a little bit of theatricality from my waiter. I do like a little bit of a rabbit out of the hat sort of flourish. I like a flourish.
Slides over the table.
Yeah.
And now my next thing for you, I got the pigeon in my sleeve.
I don't mind a flourish whatsoever. Yeah, a little sleight of hand.
Fucking...
In fact, to the extent that one time I went to a restaurant for a child's birthday called Ninja. It was a sushi place where they actually had a magician
that's fun,
who would come over and perform magic tricks for the table, and it improved the meal.
It is fun.
You don't need to go that
true.
far. You know what I mean? Nice Italian restaurant. I think a magician would be out of place. But sushi ninja themed restaurant, yeah, magician works.
Benihana's fun for a reason, dude.
There you go.
You know, fucking Benihana.
Love it.
Awesome.
So that was our experience at Carbone, and I think I did well with the the whole birthday situation.
Yeah, that's great, man.
I got her a diamond bracelet.
Wow. Funny, I got my girlfriend a diamond bracelet as well from the website that you recommended.
All right, we got to give them a shout out. We're not a big free ads type of guys, but man, Ring Concierge, they knock it out of the park, dude. If you're a man listening to this podcast and you have to get your girlfriend a gift, check out Ring Concierge.
Yeah, it's solid.
If you're a woman and you like jewelry, follow their Instagram. They are a really cool company. I like what they do. And they've been really helpful to me.
I got a really cool little diamond bracelet. 2 questions, so mind you, I've gotten my girlfriend presents before that she never wore. Mm-hmm. So I'm not always crushing it. But she asked me who helped you with this, which is the ultimate compliment. Mm-hmm. And I should have said Francis, but I said no one. Not about to give other guys fucking free shot.
Don't gas me up.
I'm joking.
Next thing you know, I'm going to be at USC and she's going to come through.
Next thing I know, she's going to be over here. Yeah. But dude, thank you for that rec. It really worked out.
Yeah. Jewelry is, if you can go sort of generic enough, but also nice, you're never going to go wrong.
Good.
I feel like it's when you start taking real risks.
Yeah.
Like you've talked about that ring you bought her.
Yeah,
that one
I bought
time.
her that the ring that dude, that was terrible. She doesn't even wear silver. I bought her the silver ring with a fucking stone. I don't know.
It's all good, homie. We live and we learn. I once bought. Oh, dude, that same food blogger I mentioned that I dated when we were dating. I went to China, and I had been told by people with knowledge of China that one of the things to do in Shanghai is to go to the Pearl District, the Pearl markets.
Very nice.
And you can get really good prices and like these gorgeous, freshwater or saltwater pearl stuff. And I bought her a pearl necklace. And it was nice.
It's great.
Spent like a few $100 on it.
Fantastic.
And I brought it back and I gave it to her. And her first review was, she goes, well, it's kind of something that like Harvard girls would wear.
Oh, like she was saying, like it was like preppy pearls.
Yeah, like old woman society bridge club.
Lily Pulitzer
pearls.
Jesus.
Boca Raton.
What a limited knowledge she had.
She might have been right, dude. I don't know. The
Chinese pearls, dude. Come on.
I would have thought that that's a decent gift.
Yeah.
But she didn't like it.
Fuck that, dude. I've had situations like that. I remember one time I bought my girlfriend years ago. I bought her such fancy shit. Like I could not afford it. I literally opened a credit card to buy her these gifts.
Oh my God.
And
dude.
I literally went through so much. I tried so hard. And then she got them and she opened it and she didn't even care. I was like, I was hurt, but I obviously didn't want to say anything. This is about her. It's not about me. But to the point where her sister was like, are you going to say thank you? These are really nice.
Right.
And she was like, oh yeah, thank you. It's tough out there. It's tough out there, boys.
It's hard out there for a pimp.
It's tough out there, dude.
Wow. Well,
what do you say?
Yeah, what can you do? That's really what it comes down to. I didn't see the most recent episode of The Vow. Have you checked it out?
I haven't watched it.
Okay.
But I'm excited to watch it.
We'll cover that soon.
Yes, we will.
Dude, I watched the Michelle Obama documentary Becoming on Netflix.
How is it?
Have you seen it?
No.
So it's the accompaniment to the book that she wrote and then the book tour.
Gotcha.
There's something that really stood out to me. After she did her arena tour, right? Mm-hmm. After she would do that, she would do these sort of like meet and greets. Mm-hmm. And I'm not kidding you. 100% of the women that came up to get a picture with her or get an autograph of their book start crying.
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
If not 100%, 95%.
Wow.
Do you have any idea how exhausting it would be to deal with a line of women who cry when you get to them?
Thousands of women.
Because here's the thing. When a woman cries, it takes a lot of work. Like it's a tough thing. Like when my girlfriend cries, I comfort her, and you got to focus. You got to really
requires energy.
You have to,
and it's not a burden. You mean it like you're like, oh my God, I want you not to be crying.
Yeah, you don't want them to be crying, and you want to help them feel better, and you have to come up with the right things to say to get them, to come back to themselves and feel good again. And by the way, I'm not talking about like times when I made my girlfriend cry. That sucks. Obviously, like fights. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like things she's upset about outside of her life or outside factors where, I have to like understand the problem. I have to process it, and then I have to attack it from like an advice / comfort perspective.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's a lot of work. And Michelle Obama in this documentary has to do this almost like on a conveyor belt level of ability.
That's crazy.
And if I'm talking like these women who meet her are so moved and so excited that they start weeping.
It's crazy.
And they, one after another, tell her like, you've changed my life.
Totally.
You've done this for me. And they're breaking down. And she has to like put an arm around them, say the right things, and get them back on their feet and send them on their way in like a minute or two. Yeah. And it looks like the most exhausting thing that I've ever seen.
Dude, and to put it in perspective a little bit, like sometimes the prospect of having to do meet and greets for comedy is like, can be exhausting. Yeah. And it's such lower stakes. And especially because that it means something. So it means a lot to this person.
Right.
And it means a lot to me too. I'm so happy to have fans and shit. You know what I mean? It's incredible.
Yeah.
But I have to do it 20 times in a row.
Yes.
So I'm aware that like, that I want to make a good impression for this person.
Right.
Because I could ruin everything by making a bad impression.
Absolutely.
And I imagine that must be magnified times 1,000 with times 1,000,000.
She has to get it right every time. Every time. If there's a woman who comes up to her and pours her heart out, starts weeping, and Michelle Obama's like, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way, but listen, we got to keep moving or whatever.
Get it
that
together.
girl is going to go on fucking Reddit and say that Michelle Obama is the Antichrist.
Dude, totally.
And then enough people are going to read that and be like, oh, I guess she wasn't who I thought she was.
Totally. And in the case of Michelle Obama, this is the maybe the best moment of each of these people's lives. Her Tuesday afternoon is the best moment in thousands of people's lives.
Absolutely.
That's crazy pressure.
And I don't know if there was some kind of VIP section where maybe these people paid more per ticket. But my God, if that's the case, then the stakes are even higher because then Absolutely. They feel like I paid this extra money to meet her and she didn't she didn't hold her end of the bargain up. I just, honestly, I really admire Michelle Obama, but I also, the idea of like, imagine if you got off stage at a comedy show and you knew that the 50 fans that you were about to meet and take pictures with were not just going to be like, hey, big fan, great show, see you later, but would start weeping when they met you. And it was your job to like get them back on their feet and, be like, you'll be all right.
Right. And that's why it is so crucial in those situations. And I'm sure she had this, that there's a good cop, bad cop dynamic.
Yeah.
Where there's somebody who rips you away. And Michelle's like, I'm so sorry. I wish we could finish, but maybe next time. Oh, hey, what's up? Yes. Okay. Oh,
right.
What's wrong? You know what I mean?
The wave of emotions. Oh my God. It just made me fucking tired watching this scene.
I gotta watch
it. It was really
incredible.
It just struck me. I was like, how do you handle that?
Unbelievable, man.
So anyway, that's nice.
That's Oops the Motherfucking Podcast.
Yeah, Oops the Podcast. Send us thoughts, emails to oopsthepodcast@gmail.com. Yes. Follow our YouTube and our Instagram, Oops the Podcast. I'm going to be performing stand-up comedy again in Kansas City, Missouri, October 8th to the 10th. Get your tickets at francissells.com. And anything coming up for you? Fun?
Nope. But hopefully there will be something soon.
Hell yeah.
Thank you guys again for following along. Oops the Podcast.
We'll see you.
We'll see you.
Hey, thanks for watching that video, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. If you liked it, subscribe to our channel or check out some of these other great clips.
Oops.